one of the stars of Tyler Perry's The Haves and the Have-Nots, Tyler Lepley.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tyler.
Yes, sir. How we doing?
How are you?
Doing?
Doing well.
I'm good.
Thanks for joining me.
I'm soaking up this California sunshine. How you doing?
Oh, it's great. You're a lucky man. You're a very lucky man. I wish I was you. Let's get right down. Good, man. Let's get right down to it. You're a Philly guy. You played at Kutztown University, same place that Andre Reed played at.
Yes.
How do you see your Eagles? How do you see your Eagles?
You know
football.
It's interesting because obviously we're coming off Chip's rookie season, right? It's interesting because I see them doing really well. I mean, they went out there and got what they needed to get during the draft, I think. I'm really excited to see what Darren Sproles is going to do because obviously he's going to fit right into the system. And man, I'm just excited because I honestly think as long as Chip is there, then man, we got a shot to go the distance because his scheme is hard to keep up with, and it's something that is it's exciting to watch. I don't want to sit here and say we're going to go the distance, but I mean, man, don't be surprised if you see us run deep in that second season come the playoffs. So
let me ask you this: I mean, Deshaun Jackson, your best wide receiver, 82 catches, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. Is that going to be replaceable?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's going to be hard anytime you try to replace someone like that. First of all, as a fan of the game and as a fan of Deshaun Jackson, I'm sad to see Deshaun go. You're talking about one of the better receivers in the entire league. I wish him nothing but the best over in Washington. Obviously, I'm sad to see him go to. I'm a little ticked off to see him go to Washington. We'll have to see him twice a year, but we'll take care of that when the time is right. But like I said, man, I'm excited to see. The thing about Chip Kelly's offense is it's like a well-oiled machine. I feel like it's I don't want to say he's going to be replaceable, but I mean we got Jeremy Maclin back. We went out and got what? We got Jordan Matthews from Vanderbilt. We're going to see what he does at wide receiver. Then we got another wide receiver too. We get someone from Oregon.
Huff. Joshua Huff.
Yeah. We got Josh Huff. So we got a few cats to throw in the mix to try to replace him, but I'm happy that we're still within the system of Chip Kelly because that's gonna be huge as well too. Trying to find a few.
So it sounds like
Chip.
It sounds like in Chip you trust pretty much.
I do, yeah. I don't know if you're going to be able to go ahead and just replace Deshaun Jackson with one other player, but I trust in Chip Kelly. I trust him to use his expertise, try to find a couple different pieces to move around. Try to help us out with that.
Like we said, it's only been 1 year with Chip Kelly, and if you remember, you're an Eagles fan. Ray Rhodes, during the Ray Rhodes era in the 90s, the first 2 seasons, the Eagles won 10 games under Ray Rhodes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it seems like Chip Kelly's a cut from a different cloth, but you never know, and there are some questions. Nick Foles is my next question to you. You believe in him. I mean, 27 touchdowns, though, and 2 interceptions. That was pretty much a perfect season.
Exactly.
You believe in
Foles?
Foles?
First of all, yeah. I mean, I'm a realist. Like I can put my trust in him. I do put my trust in Nick Foles. I think he's going to get the job done. But on the other hand, he had a monster year last season. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty much hard for anyone to duplicate those type of numbers.
For sure.
But you got to be excited anytime someone can come back and build off of something like that with the same with the same coach and the same type of system. So man, I'm excited to see what he comes out and does. And I'm excited because he has longevity too. It's not like he's going to go out there and as much as I love a dual threat quarterback, sometimes the longevity is questionable. So I'm happy that he seems like he has some longevity and some durability to go along with it. And that's like appealing as a fan too. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I want to ask you this. I mean, you look at the Eagles' schedule. I'm looking at the Eagles' schedule right now. I'm seeing a lot of tough games at San Francisco, at Indianapolis. I mean, Seattle comes to town, at Green Bay. Carolina as well, at Arizona. I'm looking at this schedule, and the Eagles, to me, it's not going to be easy. But you believe, at the end of the day, you believe that the Eagles will win the NFC East. The NFC East may not be that good either, but overall, you believe the Eagles will win the NFC East.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, we all obviously get to and are like structured throughout the playoffs based upon how we get through our division. So it's not like, even though there's some tough games, I hear San Francisco, I hear some of these tough games. At the end of the day, we got to go through the NFC East. And,
okay.
Let's be serious. You're talking about the Dallas Cowboys is just a big, I watched SportsCenter the other day, and Stephen A. Smith had a very interesting term that he used to describe the Dallas Cowboys, and I got to go ahead and I got to repeat that because I agree with it. And it's almost like, the Dallas Cowboys are just a walking piece of mediocrity. In terms of, so I'm not necessarily worried about the Cowgirls. In terms of the Giants, I mean, we're going to see what Eli Manning bounces back from last year and does. They're horrible last year.
Right.
And in terms of, the Washington Redskins, I mean, we're going to see. They're going to have to bounce back too. So it's not like we're coming from a place where, we're going to be dominated within our division, so it's impossible to make the playoffs. I think we're going to be. I think we're definitely going to win. I think we're definitely going to win the division. And then at that point, it's like, because of how hot we have, because of how hot we can get throughout the playoffs, I think we're a dangerous team for anyone to play throughout the playoffs. You know what I mean?
We're safe. Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm too with you. I am a lifelong Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I look at this team, and I'm not completely sold on Nick Foles, to be honest with you. I'm not.
So here's my question, though. So why not, though? Especially after he comes off the season like he had last year, and he's going to have his feet a little bit more wet. He's going to have his confidence. Like, why do you say something like that? You must have a reason.
I just look at his game, and it doesn't. I'm just not. It doesn't pop out to me, and to me, I also look at it from this standpoint.
27-2 doesn't pop out at you? Come on now.
No, the numbers are the 27-2 is 27-2. I can't argue with that. But he doesn't. He's not the most athletic guy. His arm to me is not eye popping. And also,
were you sad to see Vic, though? Were you sad to see Michael Vick go?
I am a Vic guy, but you can't argue with 27-2. I can't argue with 27-2. He has to be the starter.
I was going to say,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't argue with 27-2, but I still see him, and I'm just not completely sold. And plus, it's only 1 year. He only done it 1 year, and it wasn't even a full season. So the 27-2 is good, but it wasn't a full season. Now, defensive coordinators have a full year's tape on them. They have a full year's tape on Chip Kelly in that offense. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but I'm saying I'm just not completely sold. Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet. I gotta see. I gotta see a little more.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely can't knock what you're saying. I mean, what you're saying is true. I mean, another thing that makes me a little nervous too is to see how. I mean, I'm a huge LaShawn McCoy fan, but I know that he's also going to be facing a lot more defenders like at the line of scrimmage, which is going to like switch things up. Like I was a running back in college, so I know that if I got more people in the box, like pre-snap, it's going to be different than if the defenders are coming from the second level or something like that. So as much confidence as I have in the backfield, LaShawn McCoy, and in the quarterback situation, there's still some concerns we got going on. So I hope Nick Foles comes through and deliver because I'm definitely rooting for him though. I'm excited.
And also, you have to Deshaun Jackson, and him not being there and replacing that. There's no guarantee that can be replaced. So we'll see. I mean, to me, it's
it is not.
We'll see what happens.
It is not.
We'll see
but
what happens.
Yeah, we will. I mean, that's when I play the game, though.
For sure. We're talking to one of the stars of Tyler Perry's hit TV show, The Haves and the Have-Nots, Tyler Lepley, Johnny Manziel. How do you see him?
I've actually had the privilege of bumping into him a few times out here in LA. I know he trained out here before, as he was leading up to the combine. And he was a cool dude. I gotta root for somebody like that. First of all, you're talking about a very dynamic football player. Let's get that. Let's understand that first of all. He's a hell of a football player first. I'm excited to go see what he does. I mean, I really don't know who's going to start over there. I mean, he's looking really good. I mean, he's looking like a rookie. You know, there's some mistakes, there's some doubts, but he's looking like as long as he can battle that playbook, as long as he can get that playbook down, he has a really solid chance to start. And I'm rooting for him. I hope he goes out there and starts. You know, you're talking about a hell of a football player, dual threat, and it seems like he knows what it takes to be a pro.
Did you party with him at all?
Well, you know, I mean, come on, I never put somebody else's business out there in the street. But I'm gonna just go ahead and say that he was a real cool dude when I got to bump into him, bro.
So you just saw him out and about.
Say that again.
You just saw him out and about, pretty much.
Yeah. No, it's not like I don't know him personally like that. No, we just have we have mutual friends, and we just happen to be in the same vicinity. Yeah.
And so, based off just hanging out with him and whatnot, you feel like, you know, he can definitely be something in the National Football League.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what I saw from him, it's not like when I saw him, it's not like we were on a football field, but
right.
The energy. Yeah. You know, the energy that I got from him, he was definitely very focused. He looked solid. He looked like he was training. He looked well rested. Like he was definitely very focused, as I said before. So you know, from what I saw of him in that quick instance, I mean, it's something. If you were a Browns fan, you're definitely that would definitely be very, you know, promising. Sometimes you see some of these guys, they get the money and then you see them out and they're doing, you know, they got the bottle upside down, they're pouring it on themselves, and they're just, you know, they're just losing control of themselves over here in LA. And he was definitely the opposite. So he seemed like a professional. Right.
I look at Johnny, and my concern with Johnny Manziel is he committed to staying in that pocket and becoming a better pocket passer. And also, he's not very big, and if he's going to run around like he did in college, he's not going to last very long in the National Football League. Those are my concerns about Johnny Manziel. The party and stuff, that's really nothing to me. Everybody parties.
Yeah.
That's really not a big deal.
Yeah, and as long as you're grown up and professional, you can differentiate the two. You can still, like, you know, have fun and work hard.
For sure.
Yeah, but in terms of him, man, I think he's going to be okay. I really do.
Okay.
But I mean, I guess again, that's why they play again. And you know what? I'm not a Browns fan, but I'm rooting for the Browns too because I come from Central Bucks West High School.
Right.
It's in the suburb of Philadelphia, and we used to play North Penn all the time. So long story short, Mike Pettin Jr., who's the head coach now, I used to be coached by Mike Pettin Sr., who's his father.
Okay.
And we used to beat up on Mike Pettin Jr. all the time at Central Bucks West because he coached for North Penn. But it's still all in the family. It's still all Central Bucks though. So you know, I have a few reasons to root for the Browns this year.
And that's I'm from around that Philadelphia area myself, so that Central Bucks West team has been a dominant team for years.
Oh, yeah, come on now. Hey, come on now. You know how we do now. We've been on top.
For sure. Let me ask you this now. Second season a wrap, and the haves and have-nots. I mean, a big-time show. Obviously, a lot of people are watching. A lot of people are talking about. I got to ask you this. I was watching the season finale, and at the end, someone gets shot, and the screen goes to black. Who gets shot? What happened?
I know, right? It's like if I had $1 for every time someone asked me that, man, I'd be a rich man. And you know, it's funny because it's cool because we get to speculate what's going on. Like we're another audience member as well because you know that was the season finale, and at that point, you know, the next season hadn't been written yet. Now it's been written at this point, so we know what's going on at this point. But like at that point, you know, when they aired it, maybe, you know, a few weeks ago, some change ago, we actually, you know, the new ones hadn't been written yet. We didn't get the new scripts yet. So at that point, we didn't know who was shot yet because we wouldn't see the new scripts yet. So it's kind of cool to watch and be in suspense with the rest of y'all. But come on now, you know I can't say that. I got to keep my job. I can't say that.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, big buzz around this show. In your mind, what makes this show so successful?
It's funny because before the show, the show came on maybe like a year and a half ago when it came on. So before that, Tyler Perry had already been successful, right? So I had heard about, what was special with like the Tyler Perry camp before I actually experienced it, and when I experienced it and like I started watching it, when I started watching it all the time, at least what was going on with these shows that was involved with it, like I caught myself. I caught myself learning certain things. Like for instance, when Benny came back and he got reunited with his mother, it was funny because obviously, I filmed the show, so I know it's a show. I know this is fiction. But when I saw that whole awakening, I couldn't help but be happy for Hannah and have all of her prayers got answered. You know what I mean? So it was almost like when I had that little epiphany, that was like a little epiphany moment in which I learned something, about life, or like a positive, real thing about life. You know what I mean? Because if you have the right faith, your prayers will and can get answered. So I think one of the special things about it is the fact that there's just so many real lessons that touch home. You know what I mean? How many of us have come from abusive past? How many of us have had, love in certain areas when we haven't had the financial means, or vice versa? How many times you've seen someone that has had money and then has just been, engulfed in the wrong decisions and the wrong things in life? So I think there's just a lot of things about the stories that actually relate to real life and real people. And especially his fan base. These are people that are going through these things. So I think that in combination with the fact that he has such a following and such a loyal following, you know what I mean? So of course they're going to tune in right off the bat because they follow him, and then he also delivered and gave a killer product. So you got those two things doing a dance, and it's great for the ratings right now. A lot of great success. Definitely. It's cool to watch.
Definitely, a lot of people are watching. A lot of people are talking about it. What is the one thing you learned from Tyler Perry? One thing.
What is one thing that I've learned from him?
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy because I learned so much from Tyler on set as an actor. I learned just as much, if not more, off set as a person. So there's a lot of things, that I think of right off the bat. But right off the bat, probably one thing that I've learned is that, it takes a lot of things to be able to do something big in life, and not only start something, but to keep it going and to try to finish something in life. And there was one analogy that really stuck with me, because as you get bigger in life, you can't always take everyone with you, and a lot of young people struggle with that. When you just fall into stardom relatively quickly, you feel like you can bring everyone with you, and sometimes you get into trouble. Whether you bring someone with you and it gets you into trouble, or you don't bring someone with you and then you get into trouble with that person, sometimes it can be real tricky. And he explained it to me one time as a lot of times when a plane is trying to fly higher, you got to cut dead weight. Some of these G5s, these G6s, they're smaller planes. They're smaller than a 757 because they can fly higher. So, in life, when you want to get higher, sometimes you have to cut dead weight. And sometimes the hard part about that is, that dead weight will be people that are close to you. And it's not necessarily that you got to cut them, but sometimes you got to love some of those people from a distance. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with, being malicious towards them or not liking them. But sometimes you have to prepare the table by yourself, and then you have to go back and get the people to sit down and enjoy the feast. You know what I mean? So it's that's a whole tricky thing of how to maneuver, amongst the people that are, because something happens once you get into the game a little bit. So you get a little bit of money, people start recognizing you, your family starts going crazy a little bit. So it's how are you going to deal with all these newfound things? I think is what sticks out about what I've learned from Mr. Perry the most. To answer your question.
we're talking to actor and one of the stars of The Haves and the Have-Nots, Tyler Lepley. And Tyler, have you guys started season 3? Have you started shooting it?
We actually go down next week to start.
Okay.
So
next week you guys get started.
We got the privilege of linking up right before I bounced out.
Okay. So in Atlanta, you guys are shooting that?
Yeah, we do. We shoot everything at Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, and he just bought up another few lots, I think, around him or around where his studio is currently at. So he's expanding it. So he's doing bigger and better things. The studio is going to be expanded. He's bringing a lot more jobs to ATL. So he's doing his thing. We do it all down at ATL.
Okay. All right. So you'll be back in the Atlanta area in about a week or so. Let me ask you this: in a lot of ways, this acting thing kind of happened by accident for you in some respect. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't believe in coincidences or accidents or things like that. But from the outside, I'm like, because it had never been done before, it seemed like it was like something that fell in your lap. You know what I mean? Or fell in my lap. Right. It seemed like it was almost kind of by accident. If you just wanted to look at the surface of it. But it was interesting. It was funny because it was one of those those Hollywood stories that you hear about in like a magazine or a book or something like that. So I was out here, and one of the first things I got started doing was personal training. You know what I mean? Come on, I've always been I've always had good business acumen. I've always been a hustler, if you will. Okay. So wherever there's there's a demand, I'll find a supply for it. And I came out and I realized that personal trainers were in high demand out here. So I learned the tricks of the trade, and all of a sudden I was a personal trainer out here. And the thing about LA is it's very saturated with people in the business. Actors, producers, models, yada yada. So I was training some people, and I actually had someone approach me at one of the gyms that I was training at, and it's like, hey man, I'm having a really hard time casting this one role in this small film that I'm producing. I know I don't think you've ever acted before, but on paper the dude's just like you. Like I said, this is one of my clients that I was training at the time. So on paper the dude's just like you. So why don't you come in? You be yourself, read the sides, shoot, and see what happens. So I'm like, I've been in LA for like 3 or 4 months at the time. So I was like, shoot, why not? You know what I mean? Let's do it. Let's see what it is. So I went in there. I didn't know what I was doing. I just butchered it left and right. I'm just like messing everything up. And I ended up booking the role, and that was like the start of this journey that I'm on.
For sure.
At that point, I started to apply myself. So yeah.
Right. And let me ask you this: if I would have told you back in 2010, 2011 that you would be on this show, that you would be a fairly successful actor, what would you have told me?
Well, I would have definitely gotten a chuckle out of it with you, because for me to think I'd be doing something and being successful in something that I currently wasn't doing, as you told me, we'd probably get a chuckle out of that, because we wouldn't really get it. However, I would definitely not I wouldn't say that I would not believe you or I would call you crazy or anything like that, because at that moment when you told me that, if you told me that in 2012, so if you told me that in 2012 and now it's 2014, we would have had a 2-year period to think about what could happen. So if we would have talked in 2012, if you would have asked me that same thing in 2010, there would be no way I'd be able to tell you that I would be where I'm at 2012. That 2-year jump was insane. For me to for me to be like, to get out of all the trouble I was in Philly, to graduate college like I did in Philly, and then to move 2,500 miles across the country and live in Los Angeles on my own, providing for myself. That was unlike anything I ever thought was possible, and that happened within 2 years. And that happened from 2010 to 2012. So if you would have came to me at 2012 and said, this is going to happen in the next 2 years, I'd have been like, you know what, it's crazy, but it's not that crazy, because look what just happened. You know what I mean? Because I understand where my destiny lies. So like, and that'd be another freaky thing. If we sat around, like if I told you what I'm about to do in the next 2 years, if I sat down here right now, presently at 2014, and told you what I'm about to do, where I'm about to be at 2016, I would actually freak you out right now. So it's like, nah, that wouldn't freak me out. We actually have a chuckle about it.
So basically, started from the bottom, now you're here.
Yeah, I like that song. I like that song too.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, you're having a lot of success with the haves and the have-nots. You're doing big things with that. What else is going on with Tyler Lepley? What else is in the can for you?
Well, it's interesting right now because, I'm going through, 2.5, almost 3 years into this whole acting thing. I'm finding myself I'm at like a different level than I was, and a lower level than I will be in the future. So I'm gonna find myself in new ground. 2 years ago would be different than where I'm at, and 2 years from now would be different than where I'm at right now. But it's like right now, it's really important for me to, not necessarily just stay on the grind, but like stay trying to further and perfect the craft. Because like for me,
for sure.
It's really important that I'm good at what I'm doing and not just like collecting money. Because you have to understand, the hustler side of me could seriously could milk all this stuff that I'm about to go through. And I'm not just talking about just the show. I'm talking about like the business period. You know what I mean? I could definitely go run through this business and just make money. But like I'm not necessarily just about that. Yeah, I want to make money, but I also want to be really good at what I'm doing too. I want to be respected. So it's like what I'm doing right now is just that. I'm making sure I read all the materials that's right for me to read. I had just passed. It's interesting because as someone that also wants to work all the time, I had just passed on a few offers. I'm getting to the place right now where I'm getting things coming in that are just offers only. Yeah, I'm still auditioning, but like some things, some lower things, and some mid-level things are coming in like straight offers.
Okay.
And even though I want to work, I've said no to some of those things because they're just not right for my career. You know what I mean? A wise man once told me that your first few projects are gonna like shape and define your career. So if you go start doing silly things just to make money, it can be at your detriment. So right now, to answer your question, I'm really just staying in my acting class. I work with Larry Moss right now. I'm reading all the certain, the particular literature and theater that I'm supposed to be reading. Like right now, I'm reading all of August Wilson. He's kind of like the Black Shakespeare. He's kind of like the Shakespeare of like Black literature. So this is a lot of like foundation work that I'm doing right now, like seeds that I'm planting, if you will, like seeds that you won't see hatch for like another year and a half. Like this have-not thing was a seed that I planted about 2 years ago, and right now, 2 years later, we're like, we're talking about the tree that it's become because it's hatched already. So like right now, I got a lot of other foundation work that really won't like reflect itself for like another year and a half in terms of like actual work that you might be talking about. And another thing about that too is like as an actor, your life can change dramatically day to day. I'm up for something right now that if I book it, that's gonna dictate what I'm doing for the next 5 months of my life. You know what I mean? Because that'll be a different project. So life can always change from day to day. So in the meantime, it's just trying to get better.
So it's a fluid situation, and when you think about it, life is pretty much a fluid situation anyway. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. I saw you on Real Housewives of Atlanta. You were being auctioned off. At this point in time, have you found somebody? Have you found Miss Right? Are you still right now a single man and still, being single?
Yeah, well, you know what? I am single, but I do have. I've been involved. You know what? I've been involved with someone for a long time that I've really felt close to, felt deeply about, and one of the reasons why I really care about her, even though I am single, is that like she respects what I have to do like right now. See, for me, I would love to be able to multitask and do everything. I would love to. I come from a family that my parents are still married after I think my parents been married for 24 years. So I have a really great example of what love is, because I see it every day. I talk to them every day and stuff. So I'm able to love really hard. I want a girlfriend. I want a wife and kids eventually. But with that being said, as much as I want that, I can't be the best boyfriend and the best actor and the best for myself that I can be for myself all at the same time. I just can't do that. And the reason why I really love this girl is because she understands that, and she doesn't necessarily push me into that. Because lots of girls will I can't say lots of girls. I can't speak for lots of girls. But some of the girls that I've been with in my experience really try to force me into that title, that boyfriend title. Okay. You know what I mean? And with that comes with that comes certain responsibilities. You're supposed to be a good man to your girl, and all the other things that come with having those titles. But it's also a time thing too. So because I'm unable to do that, and she doesn't push me to do that, I've really respected this woman. I care, I care for her, but it's been a long-term thing. And with that being said, I am single though. And I'm very focused on what I'm doing. I'm very focused on what I'm doing. So it's with that being said, she's more of honestly though, but you're talking someone that I've been around for 4, 5, 6 years though. You know what I mean? Okay. It's all right. It's more of it's more something that's extended. It's extended family. You know what I mean? Okay. Because we've really been there. We've been there for one another. So it's understand what I mean when I'm saying because I know as I'm listening to myself, it kind of sounds like I'm saying both. Like I care for someone, but I'm single. But it's I just want you to understand what that means. You know what I mean? I care about somebody because I've been around someone for a long time. But with that being said, as I'm creating and establishing this empire that I'm building, I must be single. I must be alone and dedicate all of my time to doing just that.
Right. Well, here's my only concern for you. Here's my only concern for you. Now, the way you're talking about this woman, she's a pretty good woman, probably a decent-looking woman. And just looking at you, you're a fairly decent-looking guy. She's probably a decent-looking woman. So, and like you said, she's a good woman. So my point is, at some point, a good woman, decent-looking woman, seems to have a head on her shoulder. At some point, she's not going to wait. She's not going to wait for you. Yeah, so, I think you have to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, and I think that's that's one thing that people need to keep in mind is that there are consequences to all of your choices. There's going to be a consequence for every action. There's a reaction. So it's almost and when you look at it in terms of the general, the broad aspect of it, it's almost like you pick your poison. So do I want on one hand, if you choose to do what I'm doing, you could run into a poison of where this woman that you care so much about, well, she's not waiting up anymore for you. So guess what? She's gone. So drink that poison because that's what you just chose. I would have to drink that. On the other hand, you could go ahead, lock this woman up, and this dream that you're chasing, well, let's just set it down. Don't worry about how hot it is. Take it off the heat, take it off the flames, and set it over there in the cooler, and let that thing cool off. Don't worry about your dream no more. But get back to the girl and get back to your white picket fence that you were worried about, right? And then don't ever ask about achieving that dream again, because you only get one shot in life to do something like that. So it's or you could grip your girl up and go eat that poison. So it's for me, I understand both consequences. I truly do. But I've made my decision, because I'll tell you one thing. Okay. When I'm 80, Lord willing, or I'm 60 or whatever it is, whenever I come to that place where I'm I'm trying to think about what I did with my life, that will be a pill that I'll be able to swallow easier than the other one. I'll be able to swallow a pill when I look over and there's no one next to me. That will be a hard pill to swallow, trust me. It really will be, because as you get older, you want to share something with someone in life. You really do. I know you do. My parents talk about it all the time, how much they love each other. So I get that. But I'll tell you one thing, there's going to be a pill that I will not be able to swallow. And that's when I wake up and I'm 80 and I'm I'm not where I want to be in life. And it's my kids come to me and they say, you know what, I want to go to this school. because I want to be a doctor, and this is the best school to be a doctor at. And I say, you know what? I can't give that to you because, like, I didn't go after my dream, and I didn't do it when I could. When I knew I could do it, I didn't do it. I wanted to shack up and feel safe with someone. I didn't go out and go get it. It's like that's going to be a pill I will not be able to swallow. So I understand completely what you're talking about, but it's like I've already thought about that, like, 112 steps ago.
Right. Well, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, the time has a way of revealing all things to it.
Exactly, yeah. Father Time will be there after all of us, so we will see.
It will reveal whether or not this is the right decision, whether it's the wrong decision. Ultimately, like you said, there are two ways to go, and there are consequences for your actions. Hopefully.
All actions, yep.
All actions. Hopefully, you choose you go in the right direction, and you do what you need to do moving forward to be successful, whether with her or without her, so on and so forth.
Yeah, hopefully we all do the right thing.
Definitely. Tyler, you are on Twitter. Where can fans connect with Tyler Lepley on Twitter?
They can connect with me on Twitter and Instagram. I got the same handle, right? I think that's what you call it, a handle, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at Ty Lepley. It's TYLEPLEY. There's no spaces. It's very simple. It's plain. Just my name.
Okay. All right. Real quickly now, you don't have to answer it. Is this girl in the industry?
Well, do you feel like she's in the industry based upon what I'm telling you? No. I would say no. No? Okay, yeah. I was just asking because, like, it seems like in your tone of voice you had thought that she was in the industry, and I was just going to ask, like, what about what was being said would make you think that? So you think that she's not in the industry? You think that she's not in the industry?
Yeah, I would say no.
Okay.
I would say
she is.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah, she is.
So I was wrong.
Okay, so you were wrong.
I was wrong. You're right.
It's okay though, because we're here though. You know what I'm saying? I got your back. But it's like that's as far as we can go. You ain't getting my ass no more.
Okay. Okay, that's it. All right. Sounds good. If you like her, you should put a ring on her. Okay.
I think that's another reason why, like, there's such a respect level there too. It's because on a certain level, we kind of understand what the other is going through. So right. It's cool anytime someone can get your back like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Fans, make sure you hit him up on Twitter, hit him up on Instagram at Ty Lepley, and support all the great things going on with Tyler Lepley. This man is doing some big things on the haves and have-nots, and that's coming back in January, right? That'll be back in January.
Yes, sir. I think it's coming back, yeah. I think I want to say, January 6th, right? 5th or 6th?
Sometime in January. I know it's early January.
Yeah, I want to say the 6th, January 6th.
Okay. So fans, make sure if you're a fan of the show, you're definitely going to be watching because it's a big-time show doing big-time ratings, and we will all find out together who got shot.
Who took the bullet?
We'll find out, right?
Who took that bullet,
Tyler, pleasure talking to you, man. Wish you nothing but the best of luck. Let's do it again. Appreciate it.
The pleasure is all mine, though. Until next time, bro.